All right, good afternoon. So I got my computer fixed. Last week I didn't post a video on YouTube because um, literally mid video, my computer just shut off and like I guess my battery was shot. So it like wasn't, even if I had it plugged into the charger, it like wasn't charging up enough to where I could actually like hold the call. So yeah, so I apologize about that, but I took it in, they fixed it, they replaced the battery, so we're all good to go now. So I don't plan on having any interruptions today. What's up, Rob? Okay, so Sunday, November 11th or 17th, we're right in the middle of November. Um, I think that last week the markets were pretty one-sided. If anybody is holding crypto right now or has been holding crypto since before the election, um, good for you because some even like I've had some cryptos that I've been holding for so long. Well, like I was holding XRP since like early since like mid last year and it was literally down like the whole time until recently, which is so nice. Um so hopefully that can continue, but we shall see. So first things first, let's definitely start out in prayer. All right, dear Heavenly Father, we come to you today so grateful as always. Um, just so grateful that we get to gather here today, that we get to participate in this skill set, in this lifestyle of Forex and day trading. We just praise you for that opportunity. As we do our analysis today, I ask that you would just be involved with it every step of the way. I pray that you would rest your wisdom and your understanding on me, that I may be able to interpret these charts. I ask the same thing for anybody who's watching this, whether it's live or on YouTube. I pray that you would just touch them down from their head all the way to their toes, that you would just enlighten them and make them feel your presence, um, and let them know that you are God. Um, I pray these things in your son Yahusha's name. Amen. Okay. Not the trading plan. Okay, so I still did the analysis last week off camera because for whatever reason only Zoom just was like draining my battery so much, but I could still like be on um the computer and like do this. So I still did this. So if you haven't joined the Discord, you definitely should because if something ever happens like this, I'm still gonna make sure I get it to everybody. It's just gonna be like in a written form like this. So last week, what I've been paying attention to on the dollar is the dollar, last time I checked, was going up and up and up still, towards those higher points of liquidity that we talked about. But um, and last time I looked, it made like some equal highs with the highest point on the resistance level that it's at. Okay. Yeah, so I'm looking for already, you guys know, like last week, well, I can't really say last week, but last week when I did the analysis, I was looking for like a buys in the area that we're in now. So this was all week last week, this push up. We discussed like a turnaround in this area, but that price could possibly keep pushing up to sweep this, and possibly even this. And then if you notice here, let me delete this. This high that it made last week is going to be a relative equal high with these highs right here. So that's going to be something we're watching for in this upcoming next week because that could definitely be something that gets taken out. Um, yeah. So we're just zigzagging right now, which is crazy. We came all the way back up. Okay, yeah. So last week, um, it was technically a bullish weekly order block, which you can see right here. So we did have one of our options that price may, um, give a retrace and then continue higher into, there's a negative 27 of that Fibonacci of that weekly candle, which also was in alignment with taking out this high. Um, so that was our option that played out. It didn't retrace that far. Honestly, it barely retraced at all. It kind of just did its thing and started going. Um, yeah, we started out right here last week. And then we just pushed up and then we had a retracement on Friday. So I am still expecting price to start moving bearishly at some point. Um, we had CPI last week. Okay. Yeah, so on a macro level, I'm still expecting the dollar to turn around eventually. But I think the extent to which it's going to sell is going to be very large. So um, the fact that it's pushing up first is not surprising to me. And you can see in about a month from now, we're going to have another federal meeting about the interest rates. Um, so between then and now. But as of right now, like I said, we have these relative equal highs. So if we do get a turnaround this upcoming week, um, I could definitely see there's our daily. I could definitely see like if we just threw a fib on this, maybe this could be what our turnaround looks like. And we just retrace into this candle and then we go up to sweep the highs. How high it's going to go up to do that, I don't know. But we could be looking at like basically a giant sweep of the liquidity that has been building um, for months now, since last year, really, in this area. Um, so there's definitely a large payday here. That would end our week bearish. So that could be a bearish option. So this would kind of be like our Tuesday, Wednesday is when we get above. Um, we might open higher and sweep, right? And then go down. Maybe we go down into the Fibonacci levels of this candle, or maybe we go all the way down into here because this is a larger liquidity pool, so it's going to allow for more volume in a sell. So maybe we come all the way down here just to fill this gap and to tap into this order block that wasn't technically tapped into last week. And then from here on out, honestly, it's free game. We could go and make a lower high and start going, or we could just continue to trend higher again. Um, so I'm gonna make this for now like that. So that's kind of like two bearish options that I see. Um, We could do another one that's kind of just like gonna keep going higher like that. Um, or I would just say this option two, we could see price climb higher. So I'm not really interested in like looking for buys right now. Um, I just want to wait till it turns because of where it's at with the liquidity being right here. I know that we do have imbalance up here and an order block to the left. Um, so always keep in mind that we could keep pushing up into that level before we go down. So that would kind of look more something like this, where we get kind of like that sell right off the bat into the fib levels, and then we start to climb higher. In this scenario, we would likely get a retracement on Friday, just like we did last week, Friday or Thursday. So do this. Okay. Like that was so much typing right there. Oh my gosh. I want to look at the 2 week. That is a huge candle. Oopsie. 3 weeks. We're just so bullish right now. That's crazy. Okay. All right. I'm still gonna stand on that analysis. Okay. And then as far as news coming up this week, oh, that's in December. Um, we have flash manufacturing PMI on Friday, unemployment, another index, manufacturing index here. But building permits, I mean, we don't have that much news going on this upcoming week, so this could potentially be a really boring week. Um, yeah, even the next week is also kind of boring too, honestly. So we shall see what goes on. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, after we get a sweep of that liquidity we looked at, price just kind of just like consolidates too. Or even before it does, it just consolidates, right? Just creating more and more liquidity. Um, but Bitcoin is at 90.94 was its high. That's so crazy. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at our analysis last week. Price takes last high, then sells to retrace the weekly order block in a shallow or deep manner, then begins pushing upward for the week. Price pushes upward without giving a retracement the whole week and then retraces a bit on Friday. So I would say option one played out, but the thing is we really never turned to go back to the upside last week. Um, so on a weekly level, this was the order block that I just talked about in option one. Um, and I would categorize this as like a deeper retracement um, for any index when it comes to an order block. So that's pretty much what we did all week. I was anticipating, because see how we open right here and then we did sweep our last week's high and then retrace. I was anticipating this to happen just to turn around and go back up because that's usually what happens, but we didn't do that. We just kind of sat in this retracement. Um, oh yeah, and I was gonna say for the dollar, I would say if we get like I would say the trade that I would be looking for on the dollar is anticipating some form of retracement, right, for price to come down. whether it's down into this order block or just down into this candle to some at some point, and price is giving you like structure that it's turning around to go back up, I would say that that is going to be the trade to look for, and you just take profit right at the first high because you know it's going to be seeking that liquidity. Um, but that being said, like obviously I'll be looking for that if it comes down first because I want it to be seeking get some sort of like sell side before it goes to the buy side. But as far as so this one's pretty simple, I guess. I mean, because we came down into that order block, right? Um, so really only a couple things could happen. I mean, we could turn around and just go make a higher high, or we could make a higher low and continue to sell. Um, yeah, we have a total rejection candle right here. Um, So it looks like it's rejecting that, wanting to go higher at this time. Oopsie. There's still 11 days left of this candle, but that 2-week candle is pretty clear. Okay. So pretty much I just see this happening. I will mark this right here though, because I see a lot of liquidity right here, especially right here. These look like relative equal lows to me. We hop down to the daily. Yeah. So I'm just gonna mark with the one line right here, this area, because there's definitely liquidity resting here. Um, Also on the daily, it looks like we still have a little bit of a gap to fill. And then we have obviously this gap and this order block. Um, so back to the weekly, I could see something like this happening, right? Um, or who knows, maybe we get like literally a turnaround and we just go to our negative 27 up here. Um, that could also look like this, right? Um, but we'll just leave that one like that. So this would be like kind of like your this could be Tuesday, Wednesday-ish, but I could also see Tuesday, Wednesday being like breaking above and then coming in and using the break for support and then going higher. Um, but that's pretty much all I see for this. Normally, I always like to like sweep the high, but we ended bearish, so I'm more concerned about sweeping the low. So that's what this is, because if we sweep this low, we can potentially finish filling this gap, obviously, and then maybe even tap in down here to get us a bullish reaction. Then if we were to make a newer high, we could just smash right through that because it's already kind of been mitigated. Um, and we still have this gap down here that was never filled. Um, so that's kind of what I see this week. I'm just gonna do something like this. Oops. Hmm. I I feel like potentially this could be Tuesday, Wednesday, but honestly, it could even get down here by Tuesday, Wednesday, right? And then what do we do? We could just like trend lower, maybe fill that gap, or we could literally just turn around to the upside. Um, but it's kind of just hard to say at this point. Um, and there's so much imbalance down here too. So I don't know if that's going to get filled or not, but I do know that this looks pretty obvious for price to come and take. So I'm still bullish overall, obviously, but I think price definitely wants to at least finish filling down into here. Okay. So yeah, so that's that for NASDAQ. So again, kind of like the dollar, it's like if if I see price coming into, this area and failing to make a new high, starting at a turn, like that's going to be a move I'll be watching for, is to just like the dollar, if it sells and then turns, I'll like look to buy it into those equal highs. Whereas this is the exact same thing. If it comes into this area and it's failing, right, to push higher and it's breaking down structure, I'll look to take a sell. Um, to these relative equal lows or this trend line liquidity right here. Um, so what happens after that? Who knows? Won't really know until we get there, but that will be like a move that I can really, really see happening. Because even in both of these scenarios, like even if we were to open higher first, it's still like I still see price selling into at least down here. Um, and then potentially lower, if we get to open higher first. So, so that's that. Let's see what Dow Jones did. Okay, so last week the analysis was pretty similar to NASDAQ. So a sweep of this last week's high and then a sell into the Fibonacci levels and then a pivot to the upside. So we got half of that, right? We got a sweep and then we got a sell, but price didn't turn to head back up. We strictly just took that. Let's see, this is Monday. We strictly just took that the last week's high and then we pivoted down. So this does not look like it's done selling at all. Um, we could consider this order block being tapped into, but I could definitely see there being more orders in here that weren't ever closed out. Um, so then this would be the same thing, right, as the NASDAQ. We could open lower, taking out the last week's low, and then we kind of push up a little bit, creating a higher high somewhere in here. And then we just pivot to then continue to fill this imbalance and fill this order block. Um, Liquidity wise, though, I don't see anything too crazy. I mean, all I see liquidity wise is just this trend line liquidity right here, which I mean, we saw trend line liquidity on NASDAQ, but it was on a smaller time frame, right? So this one is a lot larger. So potentially, you know, price may very well just come in and finish filling this imbalance, finish tapping into that weekly order block that it didn't get necessarily all the way down into. Um, and then we could turn from here and like go to the upside. Obviously, it doesn't have to go down and like grab this liquidity, but if we are going to make a grab for liquidity, it's going to come for at least this low. Um, so that would look like, right, a sweep of some sort on a larger scale. But that's definitely a conversation for when we get to that point. and kind of can see what price is doing because again, we have not tested this level of support right here. So I can't say that it's going to break through that for sure because I don't really know. Um, but that this is just what I would be scenarioizing in that case. That would be where my logic comes from. I'm going to put this over here. Okay. Um, so right here, when we sold off, we're definitely at this breaker block right here. So breaker block in of itself is going to be its own like level of support. So it does make sense for price if it wanted to sweep last week's low to kind of have a bullish reaction because again, we're bouncing at an area of resistance, right? Um, to make a higher low or a lower high, excuse me, and then we turn into sell into this order block and at least meet that objective. Um, I could see price also opening higher. I'm gonna go to the daily real quick. I could see price also opening higher for the week and then selling here and then just bouncing off of this breaker block. Um, as of right now, the candlestick, like I don't have a huge wick, you know what I mean? Like, so it's not really acting like it's an area that's being highly rejected. So kind of just take that with a grain of salt. Again, on the higher time frames, we have that huge candle on the 2 week. So we are rejecting the higher level. So never say never when it comes to turning around and going to the upside with the indexes. So I'll always have that option kind of like in my mind. Um, or potentially we could get something that looks like this then going lower, you know what I mean? Just breaking through that and then tapping into this before turning. So I'm gonna make this one a little different. Okay. Okay, yeah. So I just want to reiterate, finding the trades that's within the reachable objectives. Not that this isn't reachable, but just focus on what's closest first, because if you're waiting for something that's like too far out, you're gonna miss a lot of trades. Um, but it's never a bad thing to kind of just anticipate a bigger picture because if price starts doing something weird, then you can kind of get like a bird's eye view. I just screenshot that? I think I did. Oops. Cool. So that's pretty much it for the indexes. We can go ahead and check on AUD USD. So I actually took a position last week and got stopped out on it because this thing just keeps selling. I feel like maybe I need to go do some deeper research on why it's still selling. I mean, the dollar is still buying, so that makes sense, but I'm still like I'm still waiting for it to turn. Because as soon as the dollar turns, this is also going to turn. But I did make my first attempt to get in for the buy because we had price break structure to the upside, and then it went down and it swept, and it left this candle, which was like a large liquidity sweep. So for me, that's like my golden entry right there. Um, so then I waited. See if you can't see it on this moment time. So yeah, so like that was like the liquidity sweep. So I looked to enter at this area, and I think I entered like when price broke, I think it was like a 15-minute or something like that. So my position looked like this. And I was expecting to swing this for quite some time to the upside. But it stopped me out. Price just wants to keep moving lower right now. So um, until the dollar turns, this isn't going to turn. But I was even anticipating that the dollar was going to turn last week just because of the rate decision. But it's not. So my analysis on this is still the same, but just got to be patient because I mean, the lower it gets, the more you're going to make off the trade. So it's all good. Yeah, and we're still holding structure. Because this is the swing low. That if that got broken, then it would start to change my point of view. Um, but yeah, so still waiting on that. But all right, yeah, so um that is it. That's all I got. So have a blessed week, Rob. And if you're watching this on YouTube, have a blessed trading week.